is not a drill. This is not a drill. This is real. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. KBLA 1580. This is not a drill. This is real. I'm Baba Akili. I'm the worldwide field coordinator for Black Lives Matters Grassroots, core team member of Black Lives Matters LA. I'm the director of the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute and an instructor at UCLA in the Labor Studies Department. And today the co-host is Kim, Kim Holmes. We just are so accustomed to calling you Kim.
That's
Kim,
fine.
Kim Holmes, who is an organizer with BLMLA, an entrepreneur, and Ashton Mama, and the backup for all of us all the time. We know we can always count on Kim. Be like 2:00 in the morning, Kim, and she's like, "What?" But anyway, we glad you're here, Kim, and we're glad you just step up and step in. So she's our co-host for this morning, and we want to thank you for joining This Is Not a Drill on Talk 1580, because every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. we are bringing you on-the-ground updates, campaign, news, challenges, and victories from the front lines. But before we get into our program, we want to get grounded. And I always enjoy this because we rush in here, we be hyped, let's go. But then the grounding always like, okay, let's just take a minute, take a deep breath. Let's ground ourselves. And that's critically important because too often I think we run in and let's get it done without grounding ourselves. So this is very important. And we ground ourselves in our land, labor, and life acknowledgement. So we want you to kind of center yourself, take a couple of deep breaths. Okay. We recognize that this country was built on the stolen land of indigenous people and by the stolen labor and lives of our African ancestors. So let's take a big, deep breath. This land, which we inhabit in what is now known as Los Angeles, is physically situated in the original ancestral homelands of the Tongva, Keys, Chumash, and Gabrielino people. We pay respect to the Tongva, Keys, Chumash, Gabrielino, and all indigenous people, past, present, and future, and their continued presence in the homeland and throughout their historic diaspora. Take another deep breath. We pay homage to those who were stolen from Africa, placed in bondage, falsely named as chattel, and forced labor, who were called slaves but never submitted as such, who have always been fully human, with an unbroken connection to the divine and to each other. We honor our African ancestors for the still unpaid labor which built what is now the Americas. Take another deep breath. To our indigenous and African forebears, we commit to the continued struggle for liberation and reparation, for it is only through freedom and justice that we truly give honor. Ashe.
Ashe.
All right. On today's show, we're going to be discussing challenging the city and changing the charter with our guest, Reverend James Thomas of the Los Angeles Charter Reform Commission and Zendaya Houston with the Black Workers Center. And for more than a hashtag, we're going to have a conversation. We'll be joined by Sabrina Foster, the mother of Glenn Foster Jr., the former NFL player who died in police custody after a traffic stop on December 6, 2021. But first, let us get ready to dive into these headlines with Kim. But we want you to make sure that you continue to stay with us as we move forward. This is KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk about this morning.
BLM's This Is Not a Drill, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Wendy's new Biggie Deals lets you choose whatever you're in the mood for. It's like a music mixing board of deals, and you're the producer. Go with some chill folk music with a JBC in the $4 Biggie Bite snack. Try the drum and bass of deals with a double stack in the $6 Biggie bag. Or go full-on sandwich symphony with an $8 Biggie Bundle, the grand finale of snacking. And the best part? They all come with napkins. 4, 6, and $8 Biggie deals how you want them at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
Knock, knock, Capital One Bank guy.
Wow, Charles Barkley?
I just moved into the neighborhood. Can I borrow some Wi-Fi?
Yeah, sure, Chuck. That's what the Capital One Cafe is here for. Open 7 days a week at most locations.
Oh, can I use your ATM? My dog walker only takes cash.
Anything for a neighbor.
Can I try the catchphrase?
Sure, take it for a spin.
There's no fees and minimums on Capital One checking accounts.
Nice, Chuck. I'll take it from here. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com/bankguide for details. Capital One and name member FDIC.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. Until now, Dr. Pakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of Black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Welcome back to BLM's This Is Not a Drill, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm not too woman, I'm not too man. I am something that you never understand. I'll never beat you.
You almost never want to interrupt Prince.
No.
You almost never want to do that. And I like the fact that Tavis is going to do this whole review. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years,
Right?
Since we lost this genius. I got a chance to go tour through his facilities in Minneapolis, and you could really see that this man was a genius, a complete genius, and we miss him.
Terribly miss him. I
yes.
can't believe. I mean, I remember when I first found out. He's one of those geniuses,
Yes.
one of those impacts of my life that I will never forget the moment I found out that he passed.
Yes.
It was just devastating. And he was here, if you recall, a few years ago, longer than a few years ago now, where he came to the Forum and performed, and it was $25 a
Yes.
ticket. And let me tell you, and he was there multiple nights. People went back and forth to see him because it was a different show every night. And that's the thing, is he enjoyed performing so much. He would do it for free.
Yes.
$25.
That's borderline free. I just want to remind y'all that I'm Baba Akili, and that this is not a drill on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm here with co-host Kim Holmes, and we're going to jump into these headlines, but we had to spend a few minutes reflecting and reminiscing about the impact that Prince had on all of our lives.
Yep.
And that there's going to be a program April 21st where Tavis is going to just focus on his relationship.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So, Kim, let's jump into these headlines. What do we got today?
Justice was reversed this week as the two Torrance cops who murdered Christopher DeAndre Mitchell in 2018 were cleared by a corrupt system. Former LA District Attorney George Gascon filed charges against Matthew Concannon and Anthony Chavez, the killer cops who stole 23-year-old Mitchell's life while he was sitting in his car in a grocery store parking lot. However, the current DA, Nathan Hochman, filed a motion to have the charges dropped against Concannon and Chavez. And on Thursday, Judge Sam Ota dismissed the indictment that would have charged the two killers with voluntary manslaughter. That has to be something. I mean, illegal, it seems. You're the DA. You're not supposed, so you're doing the defense job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it.
Remember, you're supposed to represent the people.
Right.
But one of the, and this is the results of a 7-year effort. And I want to do a couple of things. This was heartbreaking. We were in the courtroom when it happened. Sister Cheryl Lynn, the mother of Christopher DeAndre Mitchell, who has been on the forefront and fighting both for transparency and accountability for her son. She made a presentation before the judge to talk about what this means and the impact of it. And you know, we had been this is a 7-year struggle, and I want to a struggle and also successes. The fact that we got it this far, the fact that we got it to court, had Black Lives Matters not been involved, had Sheila not gone down to the Torrance City Council and with White People for Black Lives every Tuesday to challenge them, to demand justice and accountability, Christopher DeAndre Mitchell would have been just another Black man killed in Torrance. But we fought for it. We fought to make sure that they were transparent. We fought to ultimately make sure that charges were brought.
Right.
The other thing that happened is that we fought, and the city of Torrance now has a police review commission, supposedly an independent police review commission. That one of the police officers was fired.
Didn't they lose their license?
Yes, because once you get
they're
fired,
done.
Yes, so they've lost their license. So there have been some successes, but the ultimate success would have been to hold these police accountable for what they did. And I think, as you all know, every Wednesday we protest Nathan Hochman and the EPAs, because it's through the EPA, the police associations, and they gave over $10 million. They pretty much bought Nathan Hochman, and you can see why. This is the result of that. He will defend the police, but not the people. It was a disappointment. It was heartbreaking, but we also have a number of successes to even get us this far. A 7-year fight. And once again, I want to give a shout out to Sheila Bates. I want to give a shout out to all the people from White People for Black Lives. I want to give a shout out to all of us who showed up and stood with the family and demanded justice for Christopher DeAndre Mitchell.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to actually do some Googling, because it seems to me that that's against the license of an attorney, right?
To fight for the other side.
The other side. Like, that seems to me that that's against the bar. But I'm going to do some Googling just to see what's going on with the Bar Association. Okay.
Please do.
On Thursday evening, Black Lives Matter hosted our annual People's Budget Assembly at the Center for Black Power. BLM research team members Dr. Tabitha Jones-Jolivet and Dr. David Turner presented an overview of this year's People Budget Survey findings, along with 6 years of year-over-year data to the full House of Community members. At least 200-300 people were there. It was packed.
Yes, it was.
Elected officials and candidates, with over 1,200 survey respondents in 2026 to date, and 30,000 responses since the annual survey launched in 2020. The People's Budget Survey is one of the largest and most comprehensive data collection undertakings of its kind, and the results are clear. Angelenos want to invest more money in health, human services, housing, and public infrastructure, and less in policing.
And one of the things that I really appreciate, I mean, first of all, this was, for me, one of the best people's budget assemblies that we've done.
Yes.
And I've been doing, the first one we did was at City Council.
Yeah.
A special City Council meeting where we presented the data. And we've done City Council meetings, and we've done at least 2 with the mayor But for
Mhm.
this time for me, it was, and I was sharing this with Melina, that for me this was one of the best. First of all, the place was packed, a lot of folks,
Yep.
and one of the things that David did is go back and trace, all of the years that we've been doing this
Mhm.
and what the results has been,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, that was really
that
enlightening.
yes,
Enlightening.
and being able to look back and say, wow, look at what
The
people,
changes and yeah,
but look at what consistently people have been saying.
less police
And I
or
think
no
that,
police.
yes, and I think that part of what there is this belief, this myth in society that every member of society wants more police all the time, uh, because we live in a violent criminal society, and we just need more police. All of the data that we've collected over these years shows that that's not what people want. They
No.
and it demonstrates the thing that we have been saying for years, that what makes our community safe is resources. And the
Yes.
communities that have resources are the safest communities, and we can point to that. And so this was for me one of our best. So please continue on, Kim, before I get on a soapbox and start preaching.
No, it's true though. It is absolutely true. And unfortunately, consistently every year, even when the mayor came, would listen to the presentations, hear what the community wants, what the taxpayers that A, put you in office, and B,
Keep you
are
there.
paying taxes, what we want or how we want our money to be spent, and is ignored every time. Increase for police budget, even when nobody was in the streets during COVID and there was no crime, people were at home, and we still getting an increase. Like,
And-
that make that make sense. Where's my increase in my job
Well, or where's
which for doing less?
where's the increase for parks?
Parks.
Simple things like that. It takes a year and a half to get a street light fixed in the city.
Oh my Lord. What
What
about the roads?
and the roads are,
Trash.
and you would think the police on the one hand have touted that crime is down, and it's down, it's the lowest it's been in X number of years, and they do that all the time. So on the one hand, they talk crime is down, but on the other hand, they talk we need more money.
More money.
And their rationale is that crime is down and we need more money because we want to keep it that way.
But it ain't down because you there though,
Yeah.
bro.
And I think that one of the things that also came from the survey is the consistent misdirection that we need to invest in communities and people, and we would need less police. So we've talked about
Yes.
this whole concept of divest, invest, connecting it to defunding the police. And the people, over 30,000 of them, have consistently accepted and
Yep.
understand that
Yep.
message.
Well, the other thing is that, we have done this forever since slave catching. We've had all our community, everything has been built around, putting people in jail, law enforcement. That's where all of our money has been spent. Maybe we should try something different though, right? Maybe, because it ain't worked. If crimes keep going up, then maybe we don't keep doing the same thing we've been doing. Like, let's just at least try it and see what happens, even though we know what the results are going to be, right?
Yes.
Anyway, despite the people's demand for our taxpayer dollars to be divested from police and invested in the community, LAPD continues to receive almost half of the general fund. The city council and the mayor continue to give them more money, all while essential services are being cut because of the city's large deficit, due in large parts to settlements paid out because of the police, which isn't part of the police budget. The general fund is where their lawsuits come out of. Should be their pensions, but that's another conversation. The Black Lives Matter LA-led People's Budget Coalition organizes a participatory budgeting process that allows the people to prioritize how we want our tax dollars to be spent. We'll be presenting this year's survey findings to the LA City Council soon. But before we do, we want to hear from you. Take and share the survey at peoplesbudgetla.com/survey. That means everybody listening, everybody can hear my voice. Take and share the survey online at peoplesbudgetla.com/survey. You want to look, let's hear what you want.
So there's still enough time, and I want to give a shout out
Yep.
also to the Movement for Black Lives, who we collaborated with as a part of a national effort that's going
Yes.
on around the question of divest, invest.
Yes.
And so they came in and we collaborated
That
well
was
together.
wonderful.
And we're looking forward to doing more with that. Many of us were at the founding of the Movement for Black Lives in Cleveland 10 years ago now. And so they're doing good work, and we appreciate them being here. We appreciated working with them. We appreciated collaborating with them. And so we look forward to doing that, more of it. And these two stories, these two issues that you just raised are classic examples of why there is a Black Lives Matters. What would have happened had there not been a Black Lives Matters and we stood up and fought for Christopher DeAndre Mitchell?
Yeah.
What would happen if there were no Black Lives Matters and we didn't educate, engage, and involve our people in the question of the whole budgeting process? And I know that there are a lot of good organizations and doing great work, and we appreciate that. But I want to highlight, I want to focus on it. I want to at least say, what would it be like if there were no Black Lives Matters? We took a simple statement, Black Lives Matters, and we've turned it into a movement. We're going into 14 years now.
Yep.
The other thing I want to talk about very quickly that's connected to this, we kicked off at the People's Budget. We are moving a petition to fire Chief McDonald because clearly this man is out of touch. So you'll be hearing more about that. We think it's time for him to go. He refused.
And the DA too. Time for him to go too.
Well, we can, because he's going to be up for re-election, and we should talk about
When's
that.
he up?
Well, 2028.
Oh, we're going to have to get that together, bro.
Yes. So go ahead.
Okay. This month, the African American Museum of Rhode Island opened, welcoming hundreds of community members. Located at 500 Broad Street, the museum, which is one of the first of its kind in the state, aims to preserve and uplift the stories of African Americans in Rhode Island. The inaugural exhibition, Welcome to the Neighborhood, tracks Black communities in Province from the 1940s to the 1970s. The exhibit focuses on the deliberate and distinct process of Negro removal in Providence, as well as the ways that Black societies, individuals, and organizations tried to keep their networks together in order to continue to combat Black disenfranchisement. That sounds amazing.
It is, and absolutely necessary, because this fascist regime is taking every possible steps as fast as they can to erase us.
Yeah, I love it. I wish I was in Rhode Island. So if you're in Rhode Island, you know somebody in Rhode Island, definitely want to check that out, because that sounds like an amazing success story for us to want to hear more about our history. I love that. Black Student Success Week 2026 kicks off next week. On Monday, April 20, community colleges around California will kick off the 7th annual Black Student Success Week, BSSW, bringing together students, educators, policymakers, and community partners for a week of programming focused on advancing equity and improving outcomes for students, including but not limited to Black learners. This year's theme, Revolution, Redefining Black Student Success, underscores the continued commitment to strengthening support systems, expanding opportunity, and addressing persistent barriers that impact students across higher education. The week features daily webinars, student-centered sessions, and engagement opportunities designed to highlight effective practices and inform policy discussions across the California community colleges system.
And
wow.
I'm so glad to see this. For many people in the Black community, the community college has been the first step on the run to higher education, particularly since we may not be able to either afford or have,
especially now.
Yes, the grades. And so the community college has been that step, to the higher education. So I'm glad to see this. I'm glad that we're focusing on students and their successes, particularly as it relates to the community colleges, because I think, like I said, that's an area that has been critical for us. And all of us know folks either in our families or friends who went to community college that first 2 years, it was affordable, they could do it, and then transferred to UCLA, to the state colleges, or to the UC systems. And it was through the work of the community colleges. So I'm glad to see this, and I'm glad to see that the community colleges are, one, getting the recognition they deserve, but two, structuring what they do in a way that can be more supportive and helpful.
It's very important and helpful because especially now it's $200,000 and $300,000 and $400,000 for universities. So it's even more important that we remember the legacy of community colleges and continue to reinforce that, because it is a much better opportunity. It's a way less money. And some of them you can learn a trade. We got to get back to learning trades too. And I'm just really excited to see this for us, because yes, we need this. It's very important. So definitely check out those community colleges. And if you're able to go, check that out.
And you might want to check what our good friend Philip is sharing with us.
Oh, he's still typing. Okay, let me hurry up.
Yeah, but
Lamert Park Film Labs creates pathways into film industry for South LA residents. A new community-driven film training initiative will launch in Lamert Park this April, offering affordable, professional-led instruction designed to open pathways into the film industry for South LA residents. Our goal is to create a real pipeline into the film industry rooted in Lamert Park and South LA, says Dr. Verstraeten McSparran, founder and board chair. These labs are not just classes, they are entry points into professional filmmaking. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, Philip.
Thank you so much for adding that. That's a wrap for the headlines this week. Please stay tuned for more than a hashtag segment with Sabrina Foster, the mother of Glenn Foster Jr., the former NFL player who died in police custody after a traffic stop December 6th. 2020. You're listening to This Is Not a Drill. Stay with us. We got a lot to talk about. 1580 Talk Radio.
BLM's This Is Not a Drill, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Federal lawmakers are backing a bill to extend temporary protected status for Haitian immigrants in the U.S. The House passed a measure that would give Haitians under TPS legal status another 3 years after the Trump administration moved to end those protections.
The yeas are 224, the nays are 204. The bill is passed.
The bill now heads to the Senate and must be signed by President Trump to become law. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says he would not support a possible presidential run by former Mayor Rahm Emanuel. Johnson called Emanuel's years leading the city disqualifying and accused him of closing schools and helping cover up the police killing of Laquan McDonald. And Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is rolling out a new action plan to help shape the city's climate goals. Bass says she wants LA to reach carbon neutrality by 2045 and expand local solar power while adding 120,000 electric vehicle chargers. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. Thousands of kids waiting over a year. Any day, sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 8.
I guess it's ours.
Good morning. Can y'all hear?
You maybe need to sit on a stool or something.
I'll get it.
In order to talk to people on the
They can hear you, but you can't hear them.
all right. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they can hear you.
All right.
So you gotta
Can you turn it up?
You gotta unmute your computer to
Yes.
hear them, which you can do it, but then you gotta mute it back once you
not
go
down
on
there.
air.
Sabrina and Glenn, how y'all doing? Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be jumping into this in about 3 minutes before we go back on. First thing I'm going to open up with is some background on Glenn, who he was. So tell us as much as you can, and then we're going to talk about what happened, and then get to what's being done now. Okay.
Okay.
I may have to step in from time to time to cut you off so that we can go to commercial breaks. Okay. So don't be annoyed like, oh, he cut me off, but because we got to go.
Break.
Yeah, we got to go to commercial breaks.
I know. I got you. No problem.
I'm going to give you as much time as possible to tell the story about first of all, who he was, what happened, and what's being done now. Okay. And the big anniversary that's coming up at the end of next month. Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
Time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly.
Station ID.
Now, there's a place where you can meet them
got it in enough time.
ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. These are hard times for housing in America. Too many in our community face barriers to safe housing, behavioral health care, and affirming spaces for healing, particularly those impacted by poverty and stigma or incarceration. Rooted in South LA, AMAD supports impacted communities through housing, wellness, and leadership development. AMAD provides culturally responsive, peer-led support from transitional housing and mental health services to leadership development and youth empowerment. They offer safe, affirming houses for youth, transgender women, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities. HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to AMAD Institute at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
BLM's This Is Not a Drill continues right now.
Yes. It is always good to hear Prince. We could listen to it all day, every day. You're listening to This Is Not a Drill. I'm Baba Keeley, and we're live on KBLA Talk 1580. And every week we honor the lives of those stolen by police and white supremacist violence. Today we're speaking with Sabrina Foster and Glenn Foster Sr., the mother of Glenn Foster Jr., mother and father of Glenn Foster Jr., former NFL player who died in police custody after a traffic stop in December 6, 2021. Thank you so much, Sabrina, for joining us. We're trying to, Sabrina did send us some pictures, and so we're going to try to upload them to the YouTube thing that we're doing, but that's a little beyond me now, beyond my capacity. But thank you so much for joining us, Glenn and Sabrina. And before we get into Glenn's life, we want to talk a little bit, and for y'all to share, if you will, a little bit about Glenn, and the person before we jump into what happened and what's being done now. So tell us more about Glenn Foster Jr. Welcome, Sabrina and Glenn Foster Sr.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good morning. I'm Sabrina Foster. I'm the mother of former NFL Saints player Glenn Foster Jr. He played for the Saints in 2013 through 2015. Glenn was a very admirable person. We raised Glenn to be exactly what he was, a Black man of excellence. We purposely try to raise our children to do the things and to have the quality of things that we didn't have and that we knew were out there. And the timing was right, in the 90s when he was born, things were blooming for African Americans, right? And so we took advantage. We were able to send him to good schools and to give him the quality of an upbringing, living in the proper home environment that will bring him up to be a Black man of excellence. And that's exactly what he was. And for those who don't know Glenn, this is my favorite picture of Glenn Jr. And this says a lot about who he was. He was a happy man, and his smile says it all about him having the confidence in himself that a Black man should have. That we weren't able to show years ago. We weren't able to express our confidence. And Glenn he exudes it. And so he played for the Saints. And after he played for the Saints, he and his wife decided to start a business because he wanted to become a businessman. That was his dream. Glenn didn't like playing football. But no matter what Glenn put his mind to, he was able to accomplish it. Can you imagine how many people played football as a kid and wanted to play in the NFL? Glenn didn't start playing football until high school. They saw this big, tall guy walking down the hallway with his chest out, and he used to always wear his shirtless T-shirts during recess. And they saw him, and they wanted to find out who was he and why aren't you playing football? And just like Michael Jordan, he tried, but they didn't accept him. And they, wanted to make him the water boy, so to speak. But he told the story to them and they said, well, we want you to be at practice. And not only did he go to practice, he played varsity in his sophomore year. And he learned the signs, the signals, everything that he needed to play and to accomplish his goal. And that's what I meant by when Glenn put his mind to something, he accomplished it and he excelled at it. He was just that type of person. And for him to move on and go to one of the top 10 universities, he was able to do that. And from there, a lot of his friends went to the NFL, and we wanted him to try to make that same accomplishment. So we were his biggest cheerleaders, and voila, he played in the NFL.
And what position did he play?
He played a defensive end and also defensive tackle.
Okay.
In both high school, college, and then for the Saints as well.
Yes.
All right. And here was, and thank you for that, because one of the things that happens a lot in our society when there is police violence or white supremacist actions, they always ask, what did he do?
Yeah.
They always ask that. It must be his fault. And then right after that, ... he must be a criminal. Clearly what you're saying is that this was not that kind of person you raised. And one of the benefits we think of having this more than a hashtag is because we want to tell people about the lives of folks and who they really were, not just some criminal that the police decided to stop, and then it led to worse things. And thank you so much for that. And thank you so much. And for our radio audience, we're going to try to show you these pictures, but there was a great picture of Glenn, and he's got a great smile. And it's the kind
beautiful.
of
Check out the YouTube video.
Yes,
Yeah,
and it's
we
the
can't
kind,
really show it on the radio.
yeah, but it's the kind of smile that attracts people.
Yes.
You know, that brings you
Yes.
in,
Mhm.
and you want to engage with this person.
Yes.
So now we know a little bit about Glenn Foster Jr. We know
Mhm.
that he was a Black man of excellence,
Mhm.
and he started his own business. Tell us what happened, and what happened, and what brings you up. By the way, I also want to underscore that the Fosters are the chapter leads for our New Orleans chapter, and they have been doing great work with Black Lives Matters New
I
Orleans.
saw the shirt.
Yes, it's a great shirt.
Got a beautiful shirt. I would like one of those shirts. How can I order a New Orleans chapter shirt?
My website is coming up real soon. Yeah.
Okay.
But I will.
Okay, that's another
I'm supposed to
conversation.
send them
So
to
tell
you.
us what happened.
Yeah. So, do you want to share the story?
No, sweetie.
Okay. Okay.
job.
So, Glenn was all about making money and businesses for his family. I didn't tell you that he was married with 4 beautiful daughters. The youngest one was a year and a half when they murdered him. But what happened is that he was traveling to Atlanta on a business plan that he wanted to incorporate a new business. He had already started a granite business in 2016. And then he opened up Mr. Wolf's Coffee Cafe, which is still open here now in New Orleans. And so he wanted to just get into something else differently, like networking on TV. He didn't explain it to me exactly. I wouldn't know now. But so while he was traveling, unfortunately, he was pulled over in Pickens County, Alabama. And it was one fateful night, 11:30 p.m. They claimed Glenn was speeding. They pulled him over. They did say that Glenn took them on a wild chase, but I don't know their story to be true. But if he did, he had every right to, because it was a dark road. And he probably pulled over and they probably said something, slur language to him. I don't know. They could have called him a nigger. Who knows? But it's a sundown town. We didn't know anything about that. But what happened is that they didn't allow Glenn to call us. They contacted my husband via the internet. They sent him, they saw his name and phone number on the internet and sent him an email about Glenn being pulled over and being in jail.
Yeah. They
Well,
knew who. Go ahead.
Hang on, Glenn. Let me do this because we want to continue this, because I want to hear all of the story. This is not a drill. 1580 KBLA Talk Radio, and we're talking with the family of Glenn Foster Jr.
BLM's This Is Not a Drill, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
An official message from Medicare.
When we come back, we'll pick up with you, Glenn. Okay.
I don't think they can hear. Oh, there you go. Now you're unmuted.
So when we come back, we'll pick up with you,
Yeah,
Glenn.
sorry about that.
Who is that with you?
This is Glenn.
I love that.
Who is that with you?
That's very lifelike.
That's it.
That is very lifelike.
It
That
is.
looks like
I was like,
that looks like somebody standing
there. I was like, who is that?
I saw them put it up, so I knew it wasn't a real person.
Yeah,
But
we had a party for him about
very
three
lifelike. We can't hear all that.
years ago, and we had a backyard party, and we have at least 3 of these because we want Glenn to be part of our party and people can take pictures with him, and they enjoyed it. Yeah, we had a second line band, and so he was out in the parade with us, and the guys were just holding him up, and it was fun. Yeah. So when people come in, they get spooked because they see him standing.
I know, like, whoa.
Yeah. So we're used
very lifelike. I would have thought the same thing. Like, hold on.
I'm sorry, I should have introduced him to us.
Oh no, I saw you bring it up. No, I wasn't. I saw you pull him up. I knew it wasn't a real person.
Okay.
But it
looked real.
So real.
It does. Yeah. He always has my back.
Yes, he does. Ooh.
But what I didn't share is that Glenn is my only son. You know, I have a daughter and a son, and he was my first and only son, my first child. Yeah.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
Yep. Thanks.
There really are no words.
All right, let them know we're coming back in a minute.
Oh, we got a minute? Okay.
Where did you end at? What was your last thing?
That they pulled him over. I'm trying to remember. They pulled him over. Oh, I also mentioned that they contacted you.
Okay.
Via after looking at the internet and saw your information.
Okay.
They can contact Pamela, his wife.
Yeah.
Limbs, this is not a drill. Now, back to the conversation.
And we're back, KBLA Talk 1580 AM. This is not a drill. And we're talking with Sabrina and Glenn Foster, the mother and father of Glenn Foster Jr., the former NFL player who died in police custody after a traffic stop December 6, 2021. And Glenn, as we were moving forward, you were telling us how you got contacted and what happened. So kind of pick up from there, if you would.
Basically, because both my wife and I and my daughter, Bria, worked in the family business, my contact information was online. So I believe it was Chief Black of Reform, Alabama, actually contacted me through email. And then, I called him and we had a conversation, and they basically let me know that Glenn was incarcerated, that he was speeding, and, that they had him under arrest in the Pickens County, Alabama jail. Okay. And basically, we were surprised that he was arrested for a moving traffic violation. Normally, you get pulled over for a traffic violation, you get a ticket, and then a few weeks later or a month later, you go to court to see a judge and pay a fine. Yet, unfortunately, when Glenn was taken to jail, we traveled there to bond him out of jail. Okay. But we couldn't bond him out of jail because when we got there, all right, they said that he was involved in an incident inside of the jail with an inmate and with some of the guards.
Can I interject for a minute?
Yeah.
It really sounds strange when they emailed Glenn, my husband. Now, when you don't want a person to know that you're being summoned to court or some business is going on, you put it in a newspaper that no one knows about and say, well, I advertised in the newspaper, you didn't respond. They could have called my husband. They could have had Glenn call us. They didn't do those things. And they were probably hoping that Glenn, being a man, wouldn't look at his email. So they could say, well, we did contact the family. And Glenn doesn't always look at his email. Why couldn't they contact his wife Why couldn't they have Glenn make that phone call? You understand? So something was going on from the very beginning of his arrest. They wouldn't let us see him. They wouldn't allow him any phone calls. As a matter of fact, a bail bondsman
Right.
contacted my daughter. She didn't know what was going on because I called and said, "Hey, Bria, Glenn is in jail in Alabama." She said, "Well, Mom, wait a minute. Someone from Alabama just called me saying that Glenn was in jail." So it just doesn't add up. We never got a chance to see Glenn until he was dead.
And what are they claiming? What was
more of BLM's? This is not.
What do they claim happened?
Oh, well, he died of natural causes. Glenn died of cardiovascular disease.
According to the Alabama medical examiner, that's what he died of.
Yeah, the medical state examiner office lied and said he died at the age of 31. He died of a black man's disease. At the age, healthy, fit.
Yeah, that's nonsense. Clearly.
220 pounds. Never had signs of any illness. 31, played in the NFL.
Well, there's a couple of things. One, this very suspicious way of contacting y'all could have, and like you all just laid out, that very circuitous and going all around kind of stuff. That in and of itself raises some red flags.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden, a healthy, vibrant person just keels over.
He was just too intelligent for them. I understand.
So to kind of pick us up where the case is now, what's happening. I went to that. It's a small town in Alabama, so I remember going there for a protest.
Yeah.
So kind of tell us what's happening now.
Well,
I want to interject and say that our attorneys hired Dr. Michael Bodden to do a secondary autopsy, and it was determined that my son had neck compressions and that he possibly may have died because of, his oxygen was deprived from his heart and from the rest of his body. And that is what more than likely contributed to his death.
He was tortured.
And of course, he was tased and tortured on multiple occasions, according to the investigation that was done by the private investigator that was hired by our attorneys.
All right. So now it's beginning to come out. He didn't. Healthy young man didn't just keel over.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So tell us now. And then, like I said, I remember going to this small town, and we did a protest there, and I remember the shock and awe, the shock on people's faces when we showed up.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we did. So tell us where we are now with the case, what's happening, and what does justice look like for the Glenn Foster family?
Okay, so we conducted our deposition earlier this year in 2025. And now our attorneys are doing the deposition for the other team. The good thing is that in 2024, December 2024, the federal judge did say that she is going to accept the case and that we could proceed. So that made us happy because she didn't have to do it, how they've been doing us anyway. And then she's a Republican. She was appointed by Trump. So we were kind of, yeah, but I'm hoping that she has a heart. And obviously, she sees some faults in the case and that she wants to proceed with it. So now they are working on doing a deposition. And that's where we are. But we want, I can't just say we want justice. We want the person who murdered my son to pay for his crimes. Now, This is a civil case. Once we prove our civil case, then we can take it to the Attorney General and hopefully, yes, we can do a criminal case on this.
What I'd like to add is, based on the investigation, it was determined that Glenn was in need of medical attention. And it was this is based
Not
upon
offered. They
medical
didn't offer.
professionals evaluating him and saying this man needs to go to a medical facility. They denied him on multiple occasions from getting medical treatment.
Yes.
So that in and of itself, to me, is another red flag. Here, a medical professional says this man needs medical attention, and you the jail or you the sheriff or no, we're not gonna let you take him.
Yeah.
So that's another red flag. And then Bobby Keeley, you mentioned about character assassination. When the story came up about Glenn, despite everything he accomplished in his life, the biggest picture or photo that you saw of Glenn, was a man in a
orange
jumpsuit jail uniform. So
Yep.
they
Yeah,
they
and-
definitely try to assassinate his character as well as take his life, which is what they did. And we're standing on firm ground to perpetuate and continue his legacy of the positive things he did in the community, with his family. Glenn was involved in a lot of charitable organizations with some local high schools in Baton Rouge, the Sons of Saints, which is a charitable organization here in New Orleans. So, I mean, everything that they tried to say that he
wasn't, he was.
Yes,
Yeah.
basically.
Let me do this. How can we get in touch with you, and how can we follow what you all are doing? We know that you have a big celebration coming up, big Angelversary coming up at the end of next month. So tell us how we can follow you as we kind of move forward on making sure that people know about Glenn Foster Jr. So how can we follow you?
Okay, so this will mark the 5th year that he's not with us to celebrate his birthday. So it's a milestone. Please donate to the Foster Family Foundation.org. The Foster Family Foundation.org. If you see my family's pictures at the bottom of it, that's us, because there are other foster foundations.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you both, Glenn and Sabrina, for joining us.
Thank you.
We're going to move forward now. And we want to remember and say his name, Glenn Foster Jr.
Glenn Foster Jr.
All right.
Glenn Foster Jr.
This
Thank
is
you.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. You did a great job.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you
much
guys
for having
too
us.
for having us.
I want to
I'm
make
so
one more
excited.
comment.
I need to order it.
I am. I'm going to make sure you get one. But I want to say I love the fact that I have Black Lives Matter Grassroots NOLA to speak about Glenn. This is the best platform because I go out there representing Black Lives Matter Grassroots, and I'm able to talk about Glenn on a larger scale. So it's working.
Yes, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys.
Hey, brother, you jumping on?
Thank you. Yeah.
All
Have a
right.
good weekend.
Thank you.
Oh.
You too.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Good morning.
Morning.
Pronounce your first name for me.
Zanaya.
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 Mm-hmm.
Okay, Zanaya's on, James. Do you have the link?
Yes, in the email.
My screen is black. You don't see me in the StreamYard.
Nope.
Oh, he must be behind the scenes. Philip must be back
Yeah,
to
but
bringing him.
Philip, do you see?
James. Oh, he says he's not in the
Okay,
lobby.
we're coming back in 30 minutes.
I'm gonna log back in.
Okay, log in.
Log out.
You can find all of our socials at KBL.
I'm gonna mute.
By checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure at KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Zendaya, say your name again.
Zanaya.
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 This is not a drill. 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 This is real.
Good morning, and welcome back to you're listening to This Is Not a Drill. I'm Baba Akili. I'm here in studio with co-host Kim Holmes, and we're live on KBLA Talk 1580 AM. And on today's show, we're going to be discussing challenging the city and changing the charter. And one of the things you should know about the charter, it's the constitution of the city. It is how the city should be run, how the city should operate, and it's a very important document that many of us in this kind of may have gone under the radar because it's not the kind of thing we think about. But it's a very important document. Like I said, it is considered the constitution of the city, and it hasn't really been revised since about 1992, if I remember correctly. And there's a lot that has happened since 1992 in the city that needs adjusting, that needs reviewing. And so we're excited to be joined by our good friend Reverend James Thomas, who is a Pan-African Studies professor at California State University and in urban and community planning, and the senior pastor of Living World Community Church. He is a commissioner with the LA Charter Reform Commission, an organizer with Black Lives Matters LA, and the co-founder of Clergy Without Walls and the San Fernando NAACP. And you think that with that, he may not have time to do anything else. And the other person who is going to be joining us, and he was appointed to the commission, is Zendaya Houston, and they are the regional organizing coordinator for Southern California Black Workers Hub, and the former lead organizer at the Black Workers Center. So, James, I'm going to ask you, and you, excuse me, and you are welcome to call in this morning. You can reach us at 1-800-920-1580. Excuse me. Let me say that again. You are welcome to call us this morning at 920-1580. James, I'm going to ask you if you would call in at that number. We seem to have some problems here.
Why?
You're
right
on.
there.
Oh,
What
there
you
you
talking
are.
about?
All right, James, we're going to jump. I'm going to start with you because you were appointed to the commission. Tell us a little bit, one, about the charter reform in your appointment, and what were some of the things that you all discussed, and the whole idea of starting a freedmen's agency, the whole idea of reforming the police commission, the whole idea of expanding the number of city council members. And then I want to talk with you about what the Black Workers Center wanted to see and how it impacted Black workers. So, James, let's start with you. A little bit about the charter reform, a little bit about what came up, and a little bit about what you all are going to be moving forward to the city council.
Okay,
James?
so can you hear me?
Here you go.
Okay, good.
Can you all hear me?
We can hear you now.
All right. Okay. The one, it's important to understand what charter reform is, and I think that's been one of the issues. Charter reform is basically LA Charter Reform was basically it is the constitution for the city of LA, and so and this new kind of group of commissioners were put in place in response to the racist comments made by, those city council folks, right? And Kevin De Leon, Neri Martinez, and so that was kind of the purpose of it. And so there were no Black people that were being heard. There were no Black people that were presenting who were involved in Black-led organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And so Black Lives Matter, one of them, Black Workers Center. So in the end, when the Black folks showed up, it shifted the agenda. And I knew that was going to happen, and they should have been in the beginning. And so what happened is we were able to get all of the I call them Jubilee Framework demands or Black demands, or recommendations, whatever you want to call them.
I like your term, Jubilee demands.
Yeah, passed unanimously, and so if you all know anything about me, y'all know I'm gonna lead Black. That's just it. I don't know nothing else. I can't do nothing else. Unapologetically, offensively, Black. Don't care if you get offended.
Nope.
I say that because we, and so those are the big ones, in terms of the Freedoms Bureau. That was big. Lineage language, that's big, because we have people retreating. Elected officials are retreating. They don't want to use Black. They want to come up with all this other kind of stuff, cultural, whatever. No, I'm talking about Black people, the people that you target. We're Black when you're targeting us, and so we ought to be Black. So so that was one of the things, the huge one, and that's huge too, the Freedoms Bureau, because the legislation is moving in terms of reparations, and we have to have a place for it, and so that's the Freedoms Bureau. The other thing is, changing the power behind over the authority over the LAPD. That is a huge one. Now, what we have proposed is that City Council and the mayor would have authority over LAPD. And that idea was important to me because I know what happened in Camden, New Jersey, when they fired the mayor, and the LAPD fired all the police officers. They had to reapply, and half of them couldn't even get their jobs back because of all of the things that were filed in their personnel file. But this is the clincher. Crime went down in Camden, New Jersey, 73%, and it's been the lowest it has ever been in 55 years. Wow. And so, and I don't know if you know about Camden, but Camden,
I was born in Camden. My mama from Camden. My grandmama from Camden.
Oh, so I
know me some Camden, honey.
So I mean, Camden was not no walk in the park, right?
Nope.
It's a small place, but it wasn't a walk in the park. And so none of what we did was sensible. And my point in saying this is, I'm tired of Black elected officials acting as if they can't say Black because then they won't get people to support them. I'm tired of it. And the reality is that not only was I constantly beating the drum of Blackness, but I was name calling too. I was doing all the things, right? White supremacists, all the things. And in the end, it was a rainbow coalition of people that were advocating for issues that were specifically designed to uplift Black people. It was kind of a beautiful thing.
Well, great. And that then leads us perfectly into what the Black Worker Center put forward in terms of the impact of Black workers. So Zendaya, who is the regional organizing coordinator now for Southern California Black Worker Hub, and you were the lead organizer for the Black Worker Center. So tell me, what did the Black Worker Center propose, and why did they propose it?
Well, first we have
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. Too, I forget my manners. Yes, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Right. Thank you. I have had my coffee. I want to show a present. But again, Zanaya Houston, Black Worker Center, down for Black workers. And I got involved really because of the intersections. We have to, like Dr. Thomas said, intersections of everything that happens. It starts when you're a Black worker. It started from when we came into this country. So we have to start really outlining how we intersect so we can come together and really push forward on creating change. But LA, they have 1,000 Strong campaign, which is their commitment to getting 1,000 jobs, for quality jobs in public sector jobs for Black workers in LA. We hit a barrier though, right? Like many times we do do when we're trying to push for progress and give folks jobs, Black folks jobs, quality jobs that were at one point that was helping us build our Black middle class, and that was helping us gain a footing in this country to gain some generational wealth. We have seen there's been a direct attack on the middle class. And so there has been some structural barriers that have been put up for Black Worker Center in trying to achieve this goal of 1,000 jobs. And we're not going to stop at 1,000 jobs, but that's just the name. It sounds strong. But there's been some barriers that have been put in place for us to achieving that. And one of that we've seen is the simple process of getting folks jobs in the first place, right? And then we said, okay, then it's the testing. The testing is they got long division and all these other questions that are nothing related to the job. And so folks were coming back to us after we didn't train them. We have a ready to work program. It's 5 to 7 week boot camp that gives people those skills. So they can't say that they don't have the skill, they don't have the talent, they don't have the certifications. We give them to you with all the certifications, all the skills, and even a mentor to help them navigate the system. And we were still hitting those same barriers that other Black workers who were outside of our system were still hitting. And so we did some work, we researched, and we found out it's the charter. And then the charter that governs our city. And before this time, I never heard of a charter. I didn't know the Los Angeles had their own constitution, right? And I'm sure a lot of people were in the same boat when we realized, oh, there's a whole document that actually governs the everyday lives of working class people in LA. And we should be more aware of that. And now it's coming up for revisions. There's a reform coming up. We got to start going to these meetings. We got to start really advocating. So the campaign team, Trina Traylor, Jeremiah Gordon, the organizing manager there, they came up and were able to do 6 recommendations that were passed through the first phase. Due to Dr. Thomas, too, really a big champion of the recommendations that we have and really encouraged us to make public comment. And we did that, shifted the narrative. I think he can speak to that. We're really adamant on making sure the narrative of Black workers, so they still think it's a myth that we have all these skills, overqualified for the jobs and still can't have it. And they think it's on us. No, it's the system. And it's always been the system. And so we have to change the system. So the LA promoted, put out 6 recommendations. The first one is around modernized hiring. So that's what I'm talking about, the written test.
Let me do this as we move forward, because I want you to get them all in. I want to make sure we hear them all. And I think that that's critical. And one of the things that we've been talking about, and I'm glad that you made this point, is never us. It's always the system. And so, I'm glad that you're lifting this up. And we are, and by the way, Reverend James, we said it was a fluke that he got on the commission. Jan called him and said, you should do this.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and he got on. So
they mad. They mad when they see him coming.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. Please, we're going to move forward with all 6 of these recommendations.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Wendy's new Biggie deals lets you choose whatever you're in the mood for. It's like the music mixing board of deals and you're the producer. Go with some chill folk music.
Commercial breaks, and I didn't want you to start, and then so when we come back, I'm gonna pick up with those 6 recommendations, and then James, I want to talk to you about because I saw the fight that you had to go through. I mean, it came out all right, but it didn't start that way.
Yeah.
Oh no, it did not start that way.
We got FYI, we got breaks every quarter.
Every 15 minutes.
9:30, then 9:45, and then the show's done at 10.
Okay.
Thank you, Quinn. We should tell our guests that.
Well, we'll cut before 10 because we got to say goodbye and thank yous and all of that.
I'm trying to find.
This was fun so far, though. I'm liking this. Give me an opportunity to talk. Okay.
Yeah, Simon's like, break,
so we can hear each other.
In the notes, he said, break.
So, yeah.
Stop talking.
Oh, I see it now. Yeah.
Oh,
he typed it in the chat. It's like, I got some commercials up in here. I need y'all to stop talking.
I love these, and I should need them.
Hmm?
I love those for me.
They're so good. 1 minute, y'all. We'll be back.
So yeah, it did not start. It did not start that way at all.
Mm-hmm.
They, couple of newspaper articles and
yeah.
I the thing is that I just, this is supposed to be dealing with issues with Black people, and you ain't talking to Black people. I can't go.
Under sunshine.
It's the nuance. They do all the time that they forget the simple things. It's right there.
Yeah, I mean, that was just too much for me to bear. It was just too much. And of course, I'm not everybody's flavor of Black person either. So that's the other piece. That's how I describe myself. That's how I describe myself now, Keely. I may not be your flavor of Black person.
That's my favorite kind of Black person.
Right.
Nobody's flavor. Sorry.
Exactly.
If I think you think I'm the flavor, then I need to change something up. I'm doing
something wrong. Yeah, something's doing wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oops.
Exactly.
I've been on my game then. Ooh.
Now back to the conversation.
This man was such a genius. I remember when I first heard him in 1979, and then I heard that he did every instrument on the on his album. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Welcome back, KBLA Talk 1580. This is not a drill. We're talking about Blackness in the city. We're challenging the city. We're going to change the charter. But it started with Dr. James Thomas, who was appointed as a reform
by accident. They didn't know what they was doing
as a charter reform commissioner, and then
they didn't know.
I know they didn't know what they was getting, and then what the Black Worker Center did in terms of that's how can we get Black workers into this system. So, Zanea, you were talking about the 6 proposals that the Black Worker Center was putting forward as a part of the need to change the charter that reflects the interests, conditions, and concerns of Black people. So let's pick up with that, if you will.
Absolutely. So we have the 6 key reforms. I'm gonna try to break down simply, and also please get informed with LA Black Worker Center so they have it on their website. Show up every Wednesdays. There's an organizer on 54th and Crenshaw. It's a green building. You can't miss it. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So drop in, have a conversation, learn more, get activated, get that training. But these are the 6 key reforms that the LA Black Worker Center recommended. The first one was modernize hiring. So test people on what they actually know and what they can actually do. So relate it back to real world, real life scenarios, and get rid of the long division, the math multiplication test if it don't have nothing to do with the job, because that would throw me off. Number 2, public service career pathways, creating those pipelines like the internships, aligning with Black organizations like ours who have those pipelines already created, having apprenticeships and training programs. They have it there, but make it more popularized, and that goes to the third recommendation, which is inclusive and being inclusive in the recruitment. So actually go out to our communities. We can't know about these opportunities if you don't come and tell us about the opportunities, because when we try to go look for them, they're never there. So how about you come there and do the actual intentional recruitment in our communities and come to us where the people are so we can actually achieve and get those jobs. And then we have a workforce equity clause, right? So that's, again, a commitment for the city to remove those barriers, those structural barriers that we talked about. We mentioned the written test, and I can bring those back to the literacy test back in the day, right? And how those align, and how historically we see the same things happen over and over again. It just gets a new name and a new little title, but it's the same cycle. It's the same thing that Black workers have always been fighting against. And then also have a workforce equity commission. So we need oversight, right? We need to track the progress. So people get the jobs, good, but are they able to be promoted? Are they getting an increase in raises? Or do they have opportunities for those raises and promotions within the city? The city has a mountain amount of jobs and opportunity to grow. Can Black workers actually be able to grow at the city? Are they going to have the same job for 15 years at the same rate, right? And then number 6, equity audits. So that's going back again, the city controller to track the hiring, promotions, and those barriers. And we want the truth. So we don't want to say, yeah, we're doing a good job. No. We want you to release the data so we can see the truth. And as workers, we can see the actual progress the city is making when it says that they're putting people in place to gain that generational wealth. So those are the key recommendations, and they were all passed at the city commissioner level, right? So thank you, Dr. Thomas, and other commissioners that we have to push and pull, but we got it done, and they all passed unanimously as well.
Call us at 1-800-920-1580 to talk about changing the city and by challenging the charter and having Black voices in there. So Reverend Thomas, so here all of a sudden, and I showed up and other people are showing up and we testifying, and you and one of the things I want to distinguish, we need more than Black faces in high places, and the fact that you are unapologetically Black, Dr. Thomas, I think should send a message. So here you have all these people showing up now, testifying, and you now become the point person, if you will. So tell us how and what you had to do to, one, to make sure that we were heard, and two, to make sure that this was actually listened to and fought for and incorporated.
Well, and you I had to be unapologetically and offensively Black. And I say offensively Black because when you begin to talk about being Black and advocating for Black people take offense to that. You know, I had a beautiful lady. Some people, I had a beautiful woman come to me. I mean, she's just sweet as she could be. And she had tears in her eyes. She said, I'm with you. I'm with you. But every time you say Black, it just does something to me. It just, you know.
Is she white?
And yeah. And she was saying, I'm with you. I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, very, very sweet lady. Don't get me. She's a very, very sweet lady. And she was literally crying. And I said, the reason that you feel the way that you do is that you don't hear enough Black people saying Black. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with who I am. How do you agree with everything that I'm saying? But I say one word and that troubles you. It doesn't mean that I'm only for Black people. That's not what it means. What it means is Black people are being left out. And I'm going to make sure if I'm sitting at the table that they're not, you know. And so, and they did everything. They tried to write up a bill. I mean, an amendment to the bylaws to keep me from talking. And I'm saying, y'all, yeah, they tried it twice. They tried it twice. And then, you know, we went back and forth in I think in the LA Times, and they felt a little embarrassed, right? But I kept I kept encouraging them. There is only one person that can stop me from speaking. His name would be Jesus Christ. If you ain't him, you're not gonna stop me. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna happen. I said, y'all can come up with it. As a matter of fact, I voted in favor of shutting me up. Because I was like, I want to show you all. Yeah. No, I did. And then they begged me, James, please, because it kept, you know, I voted in favor. And so basically, and I'm saying that today, you know, I mean, I was very serious about that. And I kept telling them, I am 300 Black people in one. So as long as you are not allowing Black people to come in here and to speak, I'm going to speak for 300 Black. So I have overwhelmed all of y'all on this commission. Everybody in this room, I am the majority in this room. And so I'm not going to stop until our people are heard, because I know that the agenda is going to change. And so I described it as the most white supremacist process I've ever experienced. I wrote a letter, a formal complaint against the way that things were moving. And so, and I wasn't going to take down on or compromise on things that I know impact our people. And, you know, and I kept lifting up an article written by a colleague of mine that basically says that Black elected officials are dismissive of Black demands once they get elected. I want to continue to push that. I want to continue to push that, because to me, if I could go from them not wanting me to speak And literally, I told them, y'all gonna have to get the police to drag me up out of here. If I could go from that to them voting unanimously, okay, what happened? And the truth is that most of these folks are clueless about what we deal with every day. They're clueless. And I have to say this too, is that we could not have, and this may be, I don't know how this is going to sound, but we could not have had better representation. We could not have had better representations of Blackness. We could not have, the Black presenters that we had, and I'm talking about representing Black-led organizations. I'm not talking about people who work for the city. But the Black presenters that we had, the people who came and spoke, powerful. Powerful. And so, BLM, the people, it was just our most attended meetings were the ones with the Black, and I'm talking about energetic, lively, the whole 9 yards, were the Black-led organizations. They came and presented and made their case. And when I say made their case, I mean made their case.
And one of the things that, because I got a chance to testify a couple of times on two things: one, in support of the Black Workers Center proposal, and in support of the Freedmen's Bureau. And sometimes, when you testify, I felt this way. So you just want to turn over the table and say, "What's wrong? Y'all don't y'all hear what's happening?" So we appreciate the fact that you not only opened the door, but you kept the door open. We are talking about challenging the city and changing the charter. We have Dr. James Thomas with us, talking the commissioner, and Zendaya Houston from the Black Workers Center, and we're talking about making sure that Black voices, Black concerns, and Black people's conditions being heard and addressed in ways that they haven't been before. We want to we're gonna move forward with this. We got a caller, Miss Taylor, on the line, so we're gonna move to that right away. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
BLM. This is not a drill. Continues when we come forward.
They can hear you.
Oh, thank you.
Oopsie.
We got a caller.
Right, sir. Are you eating that?
No, yes. No.
You started eating it.
I did, but then I thought,
don't put it back.
But
Take
then
it's yours now, sir.
But then I thought, I don't want that crunch on.
Yeah, no, you can't crunch it on the
air. And one of the things that is basically what I don't think I talked about this, but the Jubilee framework basically hits at everything that Black folks put forward, because basically what it argues is that you cannot have justice, you cannot have reform unless you have structural reform and repair. Yeah. So you can't exclude repair from reform. You have locked out Black workers. So it's not just enough for you to just start hiring a bunch of Black folks.
Yeah.
You have to change this and the structure. Right. You have to say, because what happens. You hire a bunch of Black folks and then you look up and they fired.
Well, not
and
only
then,
that, it's stressful. If you got one Black person in with a bunch of the system still predominantly white and oppressive, then that person mentally after a while is like, you know what? And you're not empowered to be your full Black self if it's just you.
Yeah, it is.
Unless you're Dr. James Thomas, and you're going.
Well, I've overcome that hurdle, Ken. I'm 300. That's why I get. I'm 300 Black people.
But not everybody's capable. Not everybody's that strong.
Right. Yeah, and I realize that.
You got to change the whole thing.
Yeah,
you got to change the whole system.
Because I really appreciate you saying that the electives, the Black electives are some, when they get elected, they get afraid to say Black. Because I've been saying that for so long. I'm like, you came to us. And so you came to me. You came to me and asked me what I needed. And I told you, and you said, I got you. And now it's time for you to show that. And you afraid to say the thing.
Look at the mayor.
And you afraid to
look at our mayor.
I'm tired of people not. We gotta start saying the obvious out loud. We all see the purple bedazzled elephant in the corner, and we all ignoring it. I'm not ignoring it no more, and that's I'm excited because I'm starting to pull up things, especially with this new governor's race. I'm gonna ask Tom Sawyer. Okay, you talk about all this. What's going on with Black workers? Yeah,
right. Oh, well, you know what we need to do is that we need to get together.
And it's that's where it is.
NAACP is going to be having we're going to have a governor's forum. And so we need to get together and we need to invite these folks. And again, any kind of candidates forum for me is what you're going to do for Black people.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear nothing else. And I want you to say Black. I want you to say Black. I don't want to hear anything else. What are you going to do for Black people? And do you know they struggle to mention Black?
They say Black, African American, Black, Africa, and married. They don't know which one. They'd be so scared to say Black or African American. They'd be scared.
Did y'all see that clip?
Yeah,
Did y'all see the clip
and they
with
always
Summer Lee? The clip with Representative Summer Lee and talking to RFK Jr., whatever the heck that dude's name is, and he, because it's Black Maternal Health Month or week or month, I'm not sure. And she was saying, like, how are you improving the outcomes for Black maternal health if you can't say Black? She's like, explain, don't do that. And he was like, oh, we're improving for everyone. She's like, but we're 3 times as likely to die in childbirth. Explain how you won't do that.
Right.
Can't.
You can't do it.
And even it's even a bias in the researching in the health market. They don't even know Black workers or Black women at all. They don't even focus. When you talk about Alzheimer's, the studies are on white men. They're not even on Black brains, or they don't even cover it. So it's such a bias, and even in that industry. Yeah.
Well, then you
talk about it. You
know,
Harriet Washington's book "Medical Apartheid" will make your hair curl. Literally, it'll make you grow hair.
I was like, I don't think I'm ready for that.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, medical apartheid.
Yeah, Harriet.
Yeah, you got to
medical apartheid. She has another one called. She has another one called "Deadly Monopolies," dealing with the HMOs and the But her most fascinating. Well, I won't say her most fascinating. The one that I'm really excited about, because the other ones are kind of depressing. But she also has a book called "Infectious Madness," y'all. And in this book, she talks about the connection between mental health and disease. And she says, if you treat the brain, she's arguing, stop having people laying on couches. Heal the disease in the brain, and the person's mind will come back. And this is what she is, this is what she's talking about in the book, and it's fascinating.
Find a needle in a haystack.
Simeon, how much time before we go back?
I'm reading right now "Algorithms of Oppression" by
that's a good one too.
I met her and I was talking about something. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, I got it. I was like,
that's a good one.
Because I
experience.
The state of Black California.
30 seconds.
We're back in 30 seconds.
And it was
while other companies deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5
we're going to jump on the phones.
Get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. BLM's This Is Not a Drill continues right now.
You can't help but move when Chris is playing.
Thank you, Simeon, for all this Prince. God, it's just so good. And it's saddening to think that he's been gone for almost 10 years now. We are talking about challenging the city and changing the charter. We're going to jump to, we got a call on line 1, Lasheen Taylor. Jump in here. Welcome to KBLA Talk 1580. This is not a drill. Share with us what you want to talk about, Lasheen.
Yes, sir. Good morning, brother. Very good job of hosting the show. And to the Dr. Thomas, am I saying it right?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
And his guest.
Yes.
Excellent information. And I love how you deliver your information and saying black this, black that. We've been left out for so long. I love it. So my organization is called BFAS, Black Firearms Awareness and Safety Training. And I'm in that similar boat where you are, where if you, like you mentioned about the lady that said everything was fine, but then when you say the word black, it just makes me cringe. I get that same thing. So I'm pushing with you. How can I reach you and connect with you to possibly share resources and support what you're doing? Because I didn't know that the LA City had this thing that you guys are talking about. I'm so informed right now. I love it.
Well, and that's why there is this is not a drill, because we want to tell people about what Black folks are doing. We were having a spirited conversation about the need for Black voices to be centered in what we do. So, Reverend James Thomas, how do we follow you? How do we get in touch with you? And how can the Sheen connect with you?
See, I always try to. I will. I'll give my cell phone number over the air. I've done, everybody has.
Oh, well, you may not want to do that, but okay.
I'm not. Everybody has it already. But anyway,
right?
Yeah, I do. I mean,
how about an email?
Yeah. Oh, yes. You can email me at. Yeah. And also, I have social media too.
Oh, there you go.
But I don't check it. Email me. But email me, because I ain't gonna check no social media.
What's your email address, sir?
It's jameslwcc@gmail.com.
All right.
I should have gave my work.
And the Sheen
LWCC@gmail.com.
And the Sheen,
got it.
Part of the thing that we all have to deal with, and I talk about this all the time, the 4 conditions that Black folks have to deal with: white supremacy, institutional racism, individual bigotry, and mass denial. They all are linked, and particularly the last one. Without the mass denial, the other 3 couldn't exist. And so that's why we need people like Reverend Thomas in position. That's why we need you, Zendaya, and the Black Worker Center. I've been involved with the Black Worker Center since they got started in 2009. And I remember people suggesting, coming to us saying, well, don't you want to be called Black? Maybe y'all should just be called the South LA Worker Center, not the Black Worker. Lola held to it. Lola said, no, we're going to be called the Black Worker Center. And the fact that we have to, and James, and you talked about it, and we were having a very lively discussion about the fact that we have to constantly defend Black. And why we say it, and why we expect to be treated in this society with dignity and respect. I used to get these questions all the time. Well, why do Black people want special treatment? We don't want special treatment. We want what we deserve.
We want the treatment the whites are getting.
We want what we deserve.
Right.
And I want to go back to the Black Worker Center for a minute, and talk a little bit about why you all felt the need. And you talked about the 1,000 strong, which I think is great. But you found out that by addressing the charter, that you could make it more likely that Black people would begin to get jobs. And tell me about some of the because I heard some of the testimony that actual Black workers showed up and made the testimony. So tell me about some of the testimony from Black workers.
Yes. And again, the one that goes, narrative power is so important. So if you have never shared your story before, you don't understand how powerful that is when you get to tell it to people who really have never heard about the Black experience, or who chose to ignore the Black experience. And for that 2 minutes that you have, they only give us about 2 minutes. For that 2 minutes that you get to speak to those folks, they have no choice but to listen to you. And so there's a power in that, and being able to do that. And I want to speak to even the prep that goes into forming that, because a lot of people, it is not easy getting up there and speaking and sharing your story. However, in the LA Black Worker Center has a wonderful team of comms people, the comms team will help you do speakers prep and pull that story out of you. Talk to an organizer, because that's what their skill is. We love to talk as organizers. We'll talk your ear off and we'll listen to you talk about us, talk to us. So talk the ear off of an organizer, tell them your story so they can help you articulate your story, so that, because sometimes we go through things and we normalize it as Black people because we in survival mode. We normalize a lot of the stuff that we go through until we tell somebody and they look at us like, wait, what? You've been through what? And so one of the things that you've been through what? Yeah, and we normalize it as people because we have to live, we have to survive, so we keep pushing. But one of the things that we do at the Black Worker Center, the first thing when anybody comes in is get their worker story. And this is what we use to go and use those stories to the commissioners or our elected officials to share that. And a lot of times folks were telling us that they had the jobs, or when they went in, because we have the 5 to 7 week boot camp with the Ready to Work program, which our WED and our 1,000 Strong campaign help create. And so that we have the place for Black workers to get those skills, because the myth still exists that we don't want to work or we don't have the skills. And again, we're one of the most highly educated groups of people in the world. Okay, not in this country, but in the world, we're the most highly educated people. So that's a myth. But there's people who are working, right? It's a lie, blatant, just full, and they'll tell you straight in your face too. They'll tell you straight in your face. But we have people who were trying to go get a job after they graduated our program, and they were stuck with the barrier of that written test. And that is one of the main things that people are facing, is to get access in to the job, right? So I can argue about the pathways and not having anybody to make sure I'm not getting promoted, but if I can't even get there to make that argument, I can't. What am I doing, right? And so the main barrier that we're facing was the modernized testing, because folks were going in and we trained them on all the skills necessary for the job, and they were being asked about questions not related to the job. And we had to show people, hey, I have this degree, I have this certificate. And so we were making those statements and sharing our stories of how educated and how talented and how certified we are. And I was still having problems with employment. Probably there's people up in the commissioners, we can go head to head, but we got doctors of people who can't find jobs. You get what I'm saying? So at every level, people are impacted by the Black jobs crisis. But we're trying to get jobs into the public sector because there's been research, and we can track it back to the research of Black communities when we were able to access. So there were a time we was able to access those public sector jobs, and we were buying cars, we were buying homes, we were putting our kids through school without having that debt over our heads like we're having now. And so that was really the story about why we was really pushing for folks to share that, because we want people to understand that it's just not then, it's right now it's happening. It's the same things that was happening then, and now it just has a new name and a new color and a new cut, but it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
And one of the things that coming from a certain generation, public sector jobs was a way up and way out. I can remember growing up and people saying, if we could get a job with the post office, and because it was less discriminatory, and I grew up in the Jim Crow South, and so that's why two things. One, there's a need and the value of the Black Worker Center because it does do that, and one of the things I'm proud of, that one of the jobs I worked with, the founding of the Black Worker Center, and you can see the impact that it's having. We're gonna move forward on this because you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. We're going to continue our talk about challenging and changing the charter.
BLM's This Is Not a Drill up next. We've got a lot to talk about.
And it's important to mention
coming back, and then we're going to round up.
Okay, it takes 360. It takes 364 days from somebody to be hired for the city. 364 days.
Year?
Yeah, because you have to go through it's like
360.
And then you have to test into your position. So even when you get the job, you still have to test into your classification, like your to
a
be
year.
Yes.
Yes.
So
So
anytime
who has that?
period. Yeah, that's the barrier. That's what it's like. We can get the job, but
300. Right. 364 days before you start work.
A whole year. So if you apply in 2026, you might not get a job until 2027, 2028.
Exactly. And so
we're gonna have
the
like,
thing is
y'all,
that
we're gonna have like a couple minutes, and then we got to do thank you. Like this is like the fastest time, and then the show's over. So it's gonna be, how can we keep up with you? Like, how can we support your work? You know, you got an event coming up, whatever.
And the next steps for the commission.
Yes, we need to know that too, child.
I'm trying to get my my Instagram handles.
Well, you ain't checking them anyway. Why anybody want your handles?
Right, that's how we gotta get you.
Did you hear what Sabrina said?
Needed. I gotta I gotta teach
the man don't check their emails.
I do need it.
Yeah, I got
do need it
I
desperately.
have like a whole creative network. Yeah, I got you. I'm gonna tell her to give you. I got your email here. I'll tell her to email you. But her name is Sherry. She does great work. So I'm gonna have
email him. Don't send him a DM. He
yeah, right. Because he ain't gonna hear. and
he may not respond to the email. I don't know.
He probably leaving stuff on the table and you don't even know about it.
You check your email, Dr. Thomas.
I ain't long found out what DM was.
Doctor.
You know,
Dr.
my daughter kept telling me, these guys be in my DMs. I'm like, what is a DM?
Like, you don't know what a DM is.
I know.
Yeah, we gotta help you out.
Direct message. Direct message.
So I do know what a DM is.
Do you?
I haven't quite figured out how to check it. I can check it on Facebook. I don't quite know how to check DMs.
I got you.
Send him an email. Send him an email.
Yeah, that's what I got.
I got an Instagram.
I can't wait. Can't wait on this special that they're going to have. It was April 21st. The Tavis is going to do just on.
Yeah, I think he said yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I am too. I will be tuning in, child.
This KBLA Talk 1580. This is not a drill, and we're talking about challenging the city, changing the charter.
For Black folks.
Yes, and that's that was the critical piece
for the blacks.
Yes,
we're gonna say blackity black blacks
for the black folks.
And black, right
one of the things that both of you all have made is the need for having strong, direct, open voices that speak for and about conditions and concerns of Black people. And too often we preface what we say with, I don't want to sound racist, but and you all, both of you have talked about just being straight up Black. I want a little bit more about the Charter Commission. What's the next steps, Reverend Thomas, with the Charter Commission, and what's the time frame looking like? And then please, I want both of you to talk about how we can get in touch with you, how we can stay plugged in with your work and what you are doing. So, Reverend Thomas, what's the next steps with the Charter Reform Commission?
The next steps, it's been passed on to City Council, and so they have to take a look at it, and they ultimately will choose. Now, one of the things that I found out is that because we didn't have quote unquote charter language was not developed for our reforms. None of the Black reforms, kind of except police accountability. So that's kind of a red flag to me. And so I'm gonna make sure that that we bring that out of the appendix and that they do charter language. And so the thing is that we need to connect with our city council to make sure that they develop charter language for what is in the appendix. Also, there was an issue with personnel. We never really got a full personnel report. We did hear, and so that impacted, that had an impact with the Black Worker Center in terms of what their demands have been. And so we need to straighten that out too, because the Black Worker Center answered a lot of the concerns of the personnel department. And again, so there will be a series of dates in April. Let me. I can pull them up and maybe we can. Once I get my social media doing what it's supposed to do. But you can go to Charter Reform. You can do lacharterreform.org, LAcharterreform.org, and you should be able to find a schedule of everything that's happening. But we have to put pressure on city council. And then also, too, we have to continue with these narratives so that we get the broader public, because the charter doesn't change unless the voters vote. And so the voters need to vote in favor of it. So it's very, very important that we be able to do that. And again, one of the reasons that I talked about the Jubilee framework is that, you know, I even listed Leviticus 25, which is important to Christians and Jewish people. And so, you know, I'm taking a page out of the Republicans' book. I don't know why we don't do that, but mine is real. But and so the whole idea
ain't real,
right? And so the whole thing is that you can vote for that and you get all the rest of it. You see what I'm saying? And so we can, and so Jubilee is, there's a year Jubilee is talked about in the Bible and in the Torah, and basically where you restore, you know, you're restoring people, you are healing folks, you know, you are repairing, you know, you're fixing the problems, and you're also repairing. And so that's the concept for me. That's how I see it. We have to not just heal people, we have to repair, and we have to dismantle structures that continue the kind of behaviors that we don't want to see. And so that's what the Jubilee reforms are about.
So it sounds like there's a 3-stage process. So first there was a commission that looked at the reforms. Then secondly, it goes to the city council. And then ultimately, doesn't it go to the people to vote on at some point? The city council will place it on a ballot, probably not the November ballot, because I don't know if that's going to be enough time. But are those the 3 stages? The reform commission first, the city council, and then they put it on the ballot?
Yes. In the middle,
and then
I was gonna say in phase 2 too, they have a meeting confer with the unions as well. Anytime there's a workforce equity clause that's put in, we have to do the work with the unions, and so that is kind of the phase 2A, and then phase 2B is it's kind of an intersection. Some of the folks that are part of that process with the meeting confer are also a part of the city council, and so we will be making those relationships and creating those lines in the phase 2. Yeah.
So part of what
the other thing
to do as the public is make sure that we pay attention and follow what's going on, because there are some significant things that are happening, and too often these kind of things slip under the radar. And a classic example, James, is the fact that we may not have gotten you on the commission had Jan not called you. I mean, we knew about the.
No, I would not. No, I wouldn't have been on.
We knew about it, but so we need to pay attention to. We need to make sure we consider these kind of things. So, Zendaya, how can we follow you and the Black Worker Center and the Black Worker Hub?
Yes. Okay. Well, I would say my name is Zanaya. I'll take Zendaya's check. You know, if you want to send me at least 10%. You know, I'm not even asking for annually. I'll just take the monthly 10%. But Zanaya Houston. So I'm the regional organizer right now with the SoCal, but still connected to LA. In me, blood, it's in me. So again, I'll be you can email me at zhouston, so HOUST H-Town, at bwhub.org to get in contact with me. I'm pretty active on there. If you have a Signal chat, you could probably find me on there as well under Zanaya Houston. My name is in the code here. So however you want to reach me, if you find me on Twitter or Instagram, you find me, okay, and I respond, and I'll respond to you there too. But again, for LA Black Worker Center, they do have an active social media page, LA Black Worker Center, on Instagram, Facebook. They have a Facebook group, and they also have on Wednesdays, the organizers do go in the office 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So hit them up and pop up. It's a green building on 54th and Crenshaw. You cannot miss it. And also for the region, there's also San Diego Black Worker Center. So if you're not in this region, you want to do a shout out to places people can know and Black workers can know in the southern region where they can go. There's San Diego Black Worker Center. There's a Long Beach Black Worker Center. High Desert is coming up. We have LA. IE. So if you're in the IE, big area, big region. So if you're in the IE, please know that there's a place for you. Also, there's Earth Law City for Transformation, Center for Transformation. So if you need that wellness connected to, like, we are Black workers, but we're Black people, we're indigenous, we need to be connected to our roots and healing. So you can go to Earth Law. They're in Long Beach. They have a beautiful campus, beautiful space. So yeah, get in touch with those folks too. Reach out if you're not connected to LA. There's other places in the region for Black workers to congregate, to get those skills and to fight the power. So do that.
And as we continue to discuss challenging the city, changing the charter, what are some last points that you want to make, Reverend James Thomas, the Charter Reform Commissioner that you are? What are some points that you want to remind us that we need to be doing and thinking about and involved in?
Just a few seconds.
Following this and getting involved. Yeah, following this and getting involved and showing up. Getting involved and showing up. My email is jameslwcc@gmail.com. jameslwcc@gmail.com. Show up and demand what it is we want. We need all folks to show up. And again, as we've said before, we're asking for what we deserve. We're not asking for special treatment. We're asking for what we deserve. And the unfortunate thing about getting a semblance of what we deserve, we often, when we get those opportunities, outpace folks. And that's what they're mad about.
Right.
And so it's very, very, very important that we show up, that we don't buy into I'm everybody's everything. No, this is a direct message to Mayor Bass. You are not mayor. You're not everybody's mayor. We voted for you.
Right.
So again, don't misunderstand what we're talking about. Black demands.
And Kim, would you thank? Well, first of all, I want to thank both of you for joining us. This has been tremendously enlightening and informative, but it also reminds us of why we need Black voices, why we can't afford to let these processes go by without, making sure we have Black voices. But we need Black voices, not just Black spaces in our places. So thank you both for joining us. Kim, would you give us our call to action?
Yes. So our calls to action are: come out to our End Police Associations every Wednesday at 4 p.m. 211 West Temple Street. Follow the work of Black Lives Matter Grassroots at BLM Grassroots and BLMLA at BLMLA. Spirit work, peace, and power for the movement. We need your thoughts. We need your actions. We need your prayers. So as we move forward with this crazy government we got, it's always been crazy, but this is terrible.
And once again, I want to first of all, let me thank you, Kim, for joining us. You did a great job, and particularly all the work you put in to make sure we got here. I want to thank Sabrina Foster and the Foster family. Thank you, Reverend James Thomas, Zanaya Houston. And on tech, we got Philip Jackson, and I'm always grateful to the KBLA family. And this program was produced by Dr. Melina Abdullah, Tyler Boutreau, Megan Castillo, Philip Jackson, Natalie Burke, and Kim Holmes, and Simeon's on the board.
Simeon with the tune.
And thank you so much for having Prince on as much as you did. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580. Next up, Altadena Rising with James Farr.
Farr.
We out. Thank you so much.
Farr. All right.